How's it going, everybody? I wanted to shoot a quick video on how to get up and running a big IP F5 load balancer. And now that I've done the majority of my testing, I wanted to go through and learn some other product lines that are out there just to get the ball rolling and stuff like that and move forward with how that works. So I downloaded the 11.3 version and the 12.0 version of the Big IP LTM F5 box. So it's the virtual edition. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy that guy into my environment here. And it's actually pretty easy to work with. I'm going to go ahead and deploy this. And once we get moving here, before we click on anything real quick, we actually have to create a couple of VM port groups. So the first one we're going to have to create is internal, then external, high availability, and since I haven't changed the management network or the VM network port group names, it's going to know where to put those. So you need to have those four port groups up and operational before you can move forward, because in order for you to be able to test out the capabilities of the F5 box, you're going to want to have those port groups enabled. So now that we have that in play, I'm going to go ahead and deploy the Ovf template. So if you were right click here, File, deploy Ovf template, and I'm going to go navigate to where this file is, which is should be right there. I'm going to click on open, and I'm going to click on next, and it is a bit dated, but we're going to go ahead and move forward with the deployment. We're going to click on next, accept the EULA, click next again. We're going to call this Big IP 1. I've actually got 2 licenses, so I'm going to be deploying 2 of these guys. I'm going to click on next. I'm going to deploy it in the SAN port group, or in the SAN data store, and I'm going to use thin provision. I'm going to go click on next, and as you can see, I have the management goes in the VM network, internal goes in internal, external to external, but AJ goes to VM network. I'm going to click on this guy, and I'm going to go down to high availability. I'm going to click on next, and there we have it. So I'm going to click on power on after deployment, and click on, actually no, I'm going to click off of that. I'm going to click finish. So it's going to go ahead and deploy this guy. As you can see, it's going to take a couple of minutes to do so, but once it's up and running, I'm going to modify the configuration of it, because I want to give it more horsepower than what I believe it already has applied to it, because giving it a bit more horsepower over the top will help you in the long run. So we're going to see exactly how that works out here momentarily. I'm going to pause the video until this guy is completely installed and ready to go, and then I'll show you guys how to install it. So our device was successfully deployed, and we're going to go ahead here, and I'm going to modify its settings, because right now it doesn't have a whole lot of options here to move forward. I'm going to click on edit settings. I'm going to bump this guy up to 2 and 2, and I'm going to give this guy 8 gigs of RAM. I'm going to click on OK. And now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and right click on this guy. I'm going to click on Open Console, and I'm going to go click Power On. Now it's going to boot up. It's going to take some time, so I'm going to wait till this guy's completely booted. And then once he's completely booted, there will be a screen that we'll get to, and then if you type in the config option, or literally type in config, you'll be able to, once you've logged in, obviously, once you get to the login screen, type in config, and you'll be able to actually initialize like the web services and whatnot, and then we'll go in and we'll be able to manage the device, apply a license, and go from there. So we are at the login screen, which is for the login, it's root and default, and we're going to be at the screen now, and then we're going to type in config, and there we go. So we're going to click on OK. And I've got the IP address of 143. I'm going to click yes. And basically what we're going to be able to do now is pull up a web browser to that IP address and log in. Once this guy goes through, so we're going to say Control Alt out of that, minimize this guy, and I'm going to pull up the web page of the new device, click on Advanced, proceed to that port number, and then we're going to say login is admin and admin. Click login, and then from there we'll be able to utilize our license keys. So I'm going to go ahead and click on next, and I'm going to activate, and right now I don't have any licenses applied. So I'm going to pause the video, apply a license, and move forward. So you're going to want to drop your license in this field right here and go forward. So right now what it's doing is it accepted the, I went out, applied a license, I went forward, I clicked the next, excuse me, I clicked the next button, I accepted the end user license agreement, and then voila. Right now it's in the process of going through and getting everything set up. So it's going to take some time for that, and then I will have access to, I should have access to all of this stuff right here. So now there are other options available on F5's website. So if you were to go to, if you were to go back to, let me navigate to this real quick. Let's see here. You go to F5's main website, and so now it says that everything looks good. We're going to click on continue, and then we are activated. So we are good for 90 days. So right now, a lot of stuff is not enabled. So like right now we have local traffic manager's license, application visibility and reporting is enabled. So if I wanted to go out there and do additional things, I'd have to go out there and get additional licenses. They do have 30-day licenses, which are full unlocked, which give you less access. So from here, if I wanted to go in here and activate and ask, I would have to contact somebody and get additional licensing. But for the moment, I'm going to go ahead and just run with what it's given me, just so we can practice LTM. And then if we go into Global Traffic Manager, and then we get into, you know, the Policy Enforcement Manager, and then all the other ones that are available here, we're going to take a look at those as we go along. And right here, like it's given WAN optimization, limited mode available without a license. So it does give you some capabilities. And if you wanted to go in here and add more, you'd have to go in here and license each feature individually and then go from there. So for a kickoff, it's not bad. They actually do have a, if we were to go to f5.com and go to, let me bring this over real quick, how to buy and get a free trial. They do have a couple options here. You have the full feature license, and now this is to download a limited free trial. Limited meaning there's limited capabilities available to it. You have a full featured license. So for instance, when you're ready to actually go forward with the actual deployment, I would recommend you request a license here. It's free, and then I'm actually, once I get a little further along with it and I've got some time to really dig into the technologies, is buying a low-cost lab license. I think they're about $100. Buy the low-cost lab license, and the major feature here is there's no time limit. So you can go ahead and play with this thing as long as you like. So with that being said, I'm going to utilize playing with this device, and I can go in here and start working with high availability and active standby pair. I'm going to spin up another box and start working on that, as we can see exactly how that goes along from here. So I hope that this has been informative for you, and I'll thank you for viewing. I actually forgot one part when I was breaking things down for you guys. You actually, before you can do anything, you have to set the platform up. So we're going to go ahead and set up a manual port configuration. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to give it a 10.255.1.143/24. And missed a dot there. And then the management route is going to be 10.255.1.1. The host name is going to be big-IP1. And the host IP address is use management port address. That's fine. And then the Americas, I am not in Los Angeles. I am actually in Chicago, well, north of it. But the root account password is going to be something other than what I've given it. And just remember, this is for the root access, so this is console level. And then the admin account is going to be the same address or same password. This is different than the admin. So remember, the root password by default is default, and then the root and the admin account when you log into the web GUI is admin. I'm going to click on SSH is enabled, and allow access is I'm allowing SSH from every device. So I'm going to click on next, and I will have to log out and log back in. We're going to click on next, and it says some fields contain errors. Okay, so I'm just gonna say .company.com. So I didn't realize I had to do that. Next, company.com is what I use when I do all my VMware preparation. So it allows me to utilize a domain name. So now we're gonna type in is admin and the password we just set, and click login. So there we are. So now we're logged in, and now we'll be able to go through and set everything else up. So now what we're going to have to do next is a standard network configuration, redundancy, VLANs, configuration sync, so on and so forth. There's multiple different options we'll have to put into play here. So right now, we're going to click on redundancy. Notice that we can't click on anything. And I was like, well, wait a minute. You can either create advanced network configuration by clicking finish and navigating to the main tab of the configuration utility, or we can click on next, and we can go in here, we can say redundancy. Right now we don't have redundancy, so we're just going to click on cancel, and we're going to cancel through that, or we can just click on finished, and we'll be able to come back later on and work on this. So here we are. This is the main setup utility is complete. If we want to come in here and do anything beyond this, we'll have to click on the system tab, and then we'll have to go to high availability. We'll have to click on whatever other options we need to click on to get operational and go from there. So that's one part that I forgot to do for you guys. I hope that this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.